get the meeting started. Welcome to the February 6, 2024 City of Oshkosh Plan Commission meeting. We're glad you can join us. I do see that we have a quorum. I do have a few housekeeping items to go over before we begin. Please turn off or silence all of your personal communication devices. We'd appreciate that. The applicant and members of the public may speak to any item before the Plan Commission when the relevant item to which you wish to speak is called and public comment is open. Unless an exception is made by the Plan Commission, the following rules will apply. The applicant will be given up to 10 minutes to present any information they wish the Plan Commission to consider. Thereafter, members of the public will be given up to 5 minutes to address that specific agenda item before the Plan Commission for our consideration. Members of the public may only speak once per called agenda item unless a Plan Commission member requires clarification or wishes to ask you a question. Questions or statements from the audience will not be considered, only statements from the podium after you've stated your name and address and within the allowed time constraints are taken in consideration. After all community members have had an opportunity to speak on the called agenda item, the applicant will be asked if they have a final statement for the Plan Commission, and then the Commission may take action on that agenda item. The Common Council has adopted rules of decorum for city boards and commissions, including the adoption of a civility pledge. No person shall personally attack a board or commission member, city official, staff, or any other person. No person shall make irrelevant, unduly repetitive, offensive, threatening, slanderous, defamatory, or obscene remarks or act in such a manner to disrupt or disturb the orderly conduct of this meeting. This includes hand clapping, stomping of feet, whistling, shouting, or other demonstrations. Thank you all for your understanding. Now on to the agenda. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lowenstein? Mr. Nichols?
Here.
Mr. Bowen?
Here.
Mr. Coulibaly?
Here.
Miss Davy? Councilmember Esslinger?
Here.
Mr. Ulrich?
Here.
Miss Prop?
Here.
Miss Shireman? Here. Vice Chair Kiefer? And Chairman Perry.
Here.
8 board members present.
Great, thank you. Now on to the approval of the January 16th, 2024 minutes. Plan Commission?
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Okay, I'm seeing none, so we can have a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Okay, thank you. Items number 1A and 1B will be presented together. We will have separate public hearings on them. So item 1A is public hearing. It's a zone change from urban mixed use district to an institutional district for the property located at 240 Algoma Boulevard. The Christian Domestic Abuse Services Incorporated is the owner and the applicant. And item 1B is the public hearing, conditional use permit for an institutional residential use for the property located at 240 Algoma Boulevard. Once again, Christian Domestic Abuse Services Incorporated is the owner and applicant. Have there been any site visits by the Plan Commission? Include myself as well, please. All right, thank you for that. I am going to accept the staff reports as part of the record. Please present your summaries.
Thank you. So the subject site is the beach building property located on the north side of Algoma Boulevard, immediately east of City Hall. It includes a 3-story mixed commercial residential building. The surrounding area is primarily institutional government uses, along with residential and commercial uses to the north. The applicant is requesting to rezone the property from its current zoning of urban mixed use to institutional district. This request is intended to provide appropriate zoning for an institutional residential use, as the Christine Ann Center Domestic Abuse Shelter, currently located immediately to the east of the subject site, is proposing to utilize the subject site. The proposed institutional zoning is consistent with the 2040 Comprehensive Land Use Plan recommendation of Center City. It's also consistent with the institutional zoning designations of the adjoining properties to the east and west of the subject site. So staff is supportive of the proposed rezoning of the subject site. And on to the conditional use permit request. So the applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit to convert the existing mixed-use building to an institutional residential use. The Christine Ann Center is proposing to utilize the site, and the proposed plans include interior alterations to the building. The first floor will be for staff office spaces, meeting rooms, and communal spaces for residents. They'll have a total of 22 dwelling units on the second and third floors, which is not changing from the existing number of units. Here's the site plan. Staff is supportive of the CUP request, as conversion of the site to an institutional residential use should not have adverse impacts on neighboring properties, as it's compatible with neighboring institutional land uses. The applicant anticipates up to 30 employees per shift and up to 100 total residents. The parking area has 71 stalls, currently has 80. They are showing a recreation area that's fenced in on the east side of the building. They'll have 71 remaining stalls, which exceeds the maximum that they need for the use, which is 65 parking stalls. Here's a street view of the existing building. And staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit with the findings in your staff report.
Okay, thank you. Plan Commission, for item 1A, the zone change. Are there any technical questions to staff? Any, Mr. Orge?
Regarding parking and lighting, is there anything that would need to be of concern for additional lights going in for parking for the new residents, and how that might affect people living on Church?
They did not submit plans showing any changes to the existing parking stalls, so lighting, I believe, would be staying the same as existing.
Thank you.
Any other technical questions to staff? Okay, I'm seeing none, and since this is a public hearing, I will open the public hearing and ask if there is a statement from the applicant. Is the applicant here? If you approach the podium and state your name and address for our records, please.
Alicia Wenger, 333 West 12th Avenue here in Oshkosh. I'm the executive director at Christine Ann Domestic Abuse Services. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of this change for our organization. So we are experiencing quite a few limitations in our current building, including ADA accessibility, accessibility for large families to be staying with us, as well as folks that currently would like to flee with their pets. Unfortunately, our current building does not allow that to be possible because of the communal living aspect. The beach building alleviates all of our current limitations that our current building has, and expands our shelter services from 37 beds to closer to 60. And we will also have a transitional housing, 11 units that will be dedicated to transitional housing, which is a huge gap in our community. Affordable housing has been a large issue for a very long time, and unfortunately is becoming even further, even more of an issue for folks that we serve. So it's causing individuals now to stay in our emergency shelter for longer periods of time. So we're very excited to be able to provide this transitional housing to really work with these individuals to assist with going back to school, getting jobs, saving up money, getting the financial literacy information to go on for full self-sufficiency and independence. So this beach building move also allows an opportunity for another nonprofit to take over our current building. So we're very excited about this transition and to be able to serve even more survivors in our community. It's incredibly unfortunate that this is the point where we're at, where we are simply outgrowing our current space. That is never a situation that any of us want to be in. My goal would be to not have a job, right? For this to not be an issue, for this organization not to exist. Unfortunately, that is not the way that our community is trending. And so this beach building fits so many of our needs and more for many, many years to come. So I very much appreciate your consideration today, and for moving through or considering the zone change. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm also here for any questions that may come up too.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
At this time, I will also, this is where I request for additional public comment. Is there anybody, any member of the public that wishes to comment on this agenda item? State your name and address for our records, please.
I'm Nick Jensen. My wife and I, Lisa, own the property at 141 Church, which is directly, I guess, north of the property. Thank you. And I'm just an amateur at this, so you gotta help me out. Am I just talking about the zoning change right now, or both?
Preferably the zoning change, yes,
Okay.
although it's very challenging to do so.
All right. So, my wife and I have no issues with the zoning change itself. They've been a good neighbor. Granted, they're at the corner, not really abutting our property, but never had an issue with Christine Ann. The outside of the building's well kept. I mean, they just really have done a good job keeping it with the neighborhood. Unfortunately, they need to expand, and I get that, and no issues with that. I also have to mention I'm speaking for my neighbor to the west, which is owner of the bed and breakfast, and she really has no issue with that as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other member of the public wish to speak on this agenda item?
I'm Dave Nestler, 135 Church Avenue. And as you said, it's kind of hard to divide the two issues, but on the zoning change, I really don't have any concerns on the zoning change whatsoever. But I do have some questions regarding the conditional use and how the property will be managed. So this is a good time.
We'll wait on that until the next part of
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Yes, thank you. Any other members of the public wish to speak on this agenda item? Any other members of the public wish to speak? All right, I'm seeing none, so I'm going to close, I'm going to ask for, I'm going to close the public hearing. I'm going to ask if the applicant has anything additional that you want to say on this agenda item. You don't have to, all right? There is no closing statement from the applicant, so commission, the action is upon you.
I'll make a motion to accept the findings and recommendations of the staff report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Any discussion from the Plan Commission on this motion? All right, I'm seeing none. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Mr. Kulabali?
Aye.
Councilmember Escobar?
Aye.
Mr. Ulrich?
Aye.
Ms. Prop?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
And Chairman Perry.
Aye.
Motion carried 9-0.
All right, for item 1B, the public hearing. Plan Commission, do you have any technical questions for staff on item 1B, the conditional use permit? Any technical questions on the conditional use permit? All right, I'm seeing none, so we're going to open the public hearing and ask if there's an additional statement from the applicant. They are saying no, and so I will request additional public comment. Any member of the public that wishes to speak on the conditional use permit?
Thank you. Nick Jensen, 141 Church. So yeah, I spoke with Alicia last Friday. She was very open, transparent. My wife was there. We were discussing things. Some things that I don't see that are a concern to me. There's some fencing involved, which I understand the need for that, for the play area, the pet relief area. I'd like to see what that would look like. There's also a discussion of restricting or stopping access at the city easement on the north side by the B&B. B&B does have a concern with two items I can communicate to you. There's a yard area that they use that I don't know how they would access that yard area. They've got a privacy fence around their backyard. They have a door that people use to go in. Also, snow removal. I don't know where the snow would go up that easement that the city has. That's basically their driveway. I understand the need possibly for privacy and safety for the Christine Ann Center. I don't know where that snow would go. Currently, it's removed in front of their place, around the corner, and then it ends up in the back of mine. I don't know how that would work when we have a snow year. Also, there's a dumpster there. Right now, it's city dumpsters that I don't know how they would, what the access would be like without having to go around right now they're using the entire parking lot to go in off of maybe Algoma or in on Church and then out on one of the other ones. Also leads me into, I don't see where is the dumpster going to be changed? Alicia did say that, yeah, they got to change the dumpster area and want a little bit bigger perhaps. I don't see that on the plan at all. As far as the B&B and myself, we really don't want a dumpster right in our backyard. I don't think abutting our back property. There's probably a half an acre of parking lot that could be used for that. Those would be some concerns that we have together. Also, I'd like to know what maybe the green space would look like. I think maybe that was, you mentioned with lighting as well, but that would be something. I think they're all ash trees probably that had to be cut down. There's nothing there now, just some weeds. There's parking abutments, but that would be a good thing to know before anything's approved. I'm thinking those are my concerns with my wife Lisa and the B&B owner, Michelle.
Okay, thank you.
Dave Nestler, 135 Church Avenue. So it's a great opportunity since the petitioner is here that they could possibly, I would hope, address the neighbors' concerns or questions. First off, for me is a fence. And this is just kind of hearsay, so I don't know what their plans are, but are there plans to encircle the entire parking lot with a fence? That's a question, and what, if that's so, what type of fence, and how would that proceed? The dumpsters, I've heard that the dumpsters would be moved. And this almost seems like it's a change to the parking lot. When I talked to Brian earlier, he said, no, it's not really a change to the parking lot. One of the concerns that I had early on, even when it wasn't Christine Ann who owned the parking lot, is that they didn't maintain and conform their landscape design. Every single island in there had the trees cut out at least 2 years ago, and they've just been full of weeds for 2 years. So Brian had indicated that was possibly a code enforcement issue and not necessarily a planning commission issue. However, looking at any proposed changes to the parking lot, I would question why that would not fall into play there. So the dumpster removal. Is there any change to security? What kind of security could we expect to see? Will there be more lights? Will there be a security service? Just kind of questions around that. And then we were given the number of rooms that are available. Does that indicate a max capacity of tenants in the building? That's a question for me. So, thanks for your time.
All right, thank you. Any other member of the public wish to speak on this agenda item? Any other member of the public wish to speak? All right, I'm seeing none, so I'm going to close the public hearing and ask for a statement from the applicant. Could the applicant approach it, and if they have some answers for some of those questions, that would be wonderful. They're coming.
Sorry, I was just writing down all the questions to answer. Alicia Wenger, 333 West 12th Ave. So to answer some of the questions and concerns of some of our neighbors, which we are definitely hearing, and some of these things are not set in stone yet. For example, we are still working on the fencing. Those are things that we are still in the process with our contractors of specifically the fencing around the pet area and the outdoor recreational area. So we did entertain the idea of placing a fence to cut off the drive-through access. We currently have an easement with the city to use the easement to exit off of Church Avenue. We would no longer need that easement with the city, so it would have been alleviating that. Understanding some of our neighbors' concerns and access for it, we do not have any set in stone plans of where and if that fence will be up. So definitely something that willing to continue to have conversations with the neighbors about. In terms of the security of the building, so that is something where currently the beach building has very minimal security. It locks at, I believe, 7 p.m. and opens back up around 6 a.m. So our organization currently is a 24/7 locked facility for the safety of our residents and staff. So we will be making all doors locked entrances that will be monitored 24/7 by Christine and staff. No one is able to come in without being physically buzzed into the building by a live staff member that is working. And so we will be adding more secure doors within the building, both externally and internally. And there will be cameras that will be monitoring the parking lot of the building and just different areas of the property. We are looking at the current lighting. There are, I believe there's 1 or 2 lights that are out on the exterior of the building, so we will just be replacing the light bulbs to make those efficient again. And it's not a situation where we will be placing a large floodlight in the middle of the parking lot or anything like that. So in regards to the landscaping questions, yes, we were notified recently that that is a code violation for landscaping to not have trees placed in those islands. So we just found this information out, so by spring we will be looking at placing or planting trees to in those current islands in the parking lot to make sure that it is in compliance with city code. And then in regards to the dumpster at one point, and when I did speak with the Jensens, we did notify that we were looking at having the dumpster directly behind their property. We had a chance to reconfigure where we were going to place the dumpsters, and they will now be directly to the right of the current dumpster enclosure that you can see. So if we're looking at the map, it's up in the top. Yep, so that it will be right, yes, right where your mouse is there is where we will be moving the dumpster enclosure. So we will be needing larger dumpsters, and so that is why we will be having to build an additional dumpster enclosure, because the current one is not sufficient in size for what we will be needing. And I believe that was all of the questions, but again, I am very much open to hearing any concerns that anybody has. and figuring out how we can work through this together as good neighbors.
Thank you.
Did you have a question?
Yes.
Ms. Prop?
Is that okay, Tom?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question about capacity.
Yeah.
You've got 22 units, and as far as I know, those are studio size.
No,
They're not all studio size?
No, there's not. In total, there is only 6 studios. The rest are 1 bedroom with a den and 2 bedroom apartments. So they vary in size.
Oh, okay. So, did you say that the capacity is 60?
Close to 60.
I thought I read in the staff report that there might be as many as 100.
That would be, so that is just on 1 floor. On the 3rd floor will be transitional housing. So there could potentially be 11 families that are occupying the 11 apartments on the 3rd floor. The 2nd floor would be up to 60 individuals. I believe the 100 would have been with staff included in there.
Okay.
Yes. Does that answer
Okay,
your
so
question?
in any one unit, you said there are some 2-bedroom units?
Yes, there are several, yes.
There could be how many family members?
In the 2-bedroom units, because the ceilings are so tall, we are looking to utilize bunk beds. And so a 2-bedroom unit could potentially have 8 individuals.
Okay. And as you said, making a total of more like 60
Correct.
residents,
Versus-
transitional and emergency.
Transitional housing would be 11 separate families that could be staying with us at any given time. That could be a single individual, or that could be a family of 4, a family of 2. But the shelter itself would be up to 60 individuals, no more than that at any given time. And shelter fluctuates quite frequently. We don't have a length of stay, so there are some people who are there for just a few days, some people there for a month or 2.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Bowen?
Just one more.
Yes.
And I want to make sure I am understanding. So the first floor is retaining the business, sort of the business occupancy. Is the first floor going to be your administrative offices and your employees' area solely?
Correct.
The cafe use and the rest of that is going to be going away, and you're going to have your stuff on that first floor?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
That will be all staff offices, meeting rooms for with clients.
I wasn't sure if any of the public-facing stuff that's there now was staying.
The
With
bakery.
the security, that wouldn't.
Yeah, the bakery will be
Dumb question, I get it.
leaving
Well-
at the end of this month.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Mr. Orlich?
A tag-along question to some of the comments about security maybe, and the fence. I look at your property right now, and you've got that nice wrought iron fence along the road, and then the wooden fence by the rec department. I'm thinking maybe from some of your users' perspective, they get a feeling of security having a fence maybe around the property. Are you planning on putting one between the parking lot and the properties at 143, 141, and 135, either wooden or wrought iron, to separate those spaces? And if so, what style of fence?
Could you, on
At
the
the top
map?
of the map, effectively.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We do not currently have solid plans on if we will be sticking a fence there or not. So there really is not, we're really not that far into if a fence will be there or what type of fence. But we have had conversations with some of the property owners of potentially moving the fence back so that they would still have access. So we are still entertaining some of the different ideas with that area in particular.
Any other questions before we move on? All right, I'm seeing none from the Plan Commission. Thank you.
Thank you.
Plan Commission, action is upon you.
Motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
We have a motion and a discussion. Commission discussion on the motion. Before we start the discussion, I'd like to ask Brian the next steps, because this isn't the final part. There's site plan and that kind of stuff, so.
Correct. The conditional use permit is approved. Any site changes go through site plan review. For example, the dumpster enclosure being moved, that'd go through site plan review. to confirm compliance with screen requirements and placement as far as setbacks. Same goes for fencing. That'd be addressed during site plan review under a separate building permit following the conditional use permit. So we would have that stage to verify compliance with their site.
Okay, Ms. Prop.
But it's not coming back to the plan commission? That's
Correct.
internal?
Yep, that's just administrative review.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion on this motion? Okay, I'm seeing none, so let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Mr. Kulabali?
Aye.
Councilmember Esslinger?
Aye.
Mr. Ulrich?
Aye.
Ms. Prop?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Chairman Perry?
Aye.
Motion carried 9-0.
Thank you. Item number 2 on the agenda is a public hearing. It's a conditional use permit request for a personal storage facility at 1919 Walter Court. Moakler Properties Incorporated is the owner and Excel Engineering Incorporated is the applicant. Have there been any site inspections of this property? Okay, so noted. I will accept the staff report as part of the record. Please present your summary.
Thank you. So the subject site is a .44 acre parcel with frontage on Walter Court and Algoma Boulevard. It has a 5,200 square foot building currently used as office space with indoor storage utilized by the owner and was previously used as an exercise facility. And the surrounding area is predominantly industrial and commercial uses. The applicant is proposing to add a climate-controlled storage units to the interior of the existing building. Here's the site plan. The personal storage facility is a conditional use in the heavy industrial zoning district. There will be no changes to the footprint of the site or the exterior of the building, with the exception of a new entrance located on the north side of the building. Staff is supportive of the proposed personal storage facility as the use will be compatible with surrounding industrial land uses. Also, the use is compatible with the zoning of the surrounding area, which is entirely heavy industrial. The site has existing 10 parking stalls, which is sufficient for the small scale office and the storage uses on the site, which require a total of 7 parking stalls. Here's a street view of the site, which again has no exterior changes, just the interior changes for the personal storage facility. So with that, staff recommends approval of the proposed conditional use permit with the findings in your staff report.
Okay, Plan Commissioner, is there any technical questions to the staff? Any technical questions to the staff? All right, I'm seeing none. So since this is a public hearing, I will open the public hearing and ask if the applicant would like to come up and make a statement, please. State your name and address for our records. Thank you.
Chris Moakler, 1931 Mount Vernon Street, Oshkosh. I am the owner of the property via Moakler Properties, Inc. We ask for your approval. It's a pretty simple project. As staff reported, the only change that will be visible will be an exterior door on the side of the building where the white square is located on the parking lot. Otherwise, everything else will be within. So pretty simple, not much of a change. Won't be much more traffic because this is only a small number of climate-controlled storage. So I'm available for any questions, and I ask for your approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to open the public hearing to the rest of the public. Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak on this agenda item? Any member of the public that wishes to speak on this agenda item? All right, I'm seeing none, so I'm going to close the public hearing. We don't need a closing statement from the applicant, so Commission, the action is upon you.
I'll make a motion to accept the findings and recommendations of the staff report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'd like to state that this is not the first time the property or properties in that particular area have come to us, and the issue in the past has always been changing the zoning to, and it would have created some type of island. This is a use that does not do any of that kind of thing, so it's very appropriate for the way it already is. And so I'm excited to see that we've been able to develop the area as the way it was intended. Any other comment? I'm seeing none. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lowenstein,
Aye.
Mr. Nichols,
Aye.
Mr. Bowen,
Aye.
Mr. Kulabali,
Aye.
Councilmember Esslinger,
Aye.
Mr. Ulrich,
Aye.
Ms. Prop,
Aye.
Ms. Shireman.
Aye.
Chairman Perry.
Aye.
Motion carried 9-0.
All right, thank you. Last item on the agenda is adjournment.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. We can have a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you. We do have a workshop.